welcome to This Week in Big Sky Football, presented by Jimmy John's. I'm your host, Carl Hunt, and today on the show we will have Montana head coach Bobby Hauck, Southern Utah quarterback Chris Helbig, and Stats Craig Haley. Let's take a look back at some highlights from this past weekend. Montana clipped Eastern Washington for a 34-17 win at home in the Root Sports Game of the Week. Southern Utah topped Idaho State 59-34 to win its first conference game of the season. Louis Aguilar nailed a 38-yard field goal with 4 seconds remaining to lift Northern Arizona to a 31-29 win over Portland State. Sacramento State registered a 38-14 victory at Cal Poly. Weber State defeated UC Davis in a top 25 matchup, winning the battle 36-20 with the assistance of 5 made field goals by Trey Tuttle. The Big Sky has a total of 4 teams ranked this week in the Stats FCS and AFCA FCS Coaches Top 25 polls. Weber State leads the way at number 3, followed by Sacramento State making its second straight weekly appearance in the top 10 at number 6. Montana was voted number 8, and Montana State was slotted number 14 and 15. UC Davis and Northern Arizona are both receiving votes. The Root Sports Offensive Player of the Week honor went to Sacramento State running back Elijah Dotson. Southern Utah cornerback Carlton Johnson earned Root Sports Defensive Player of the Week accolades, while Weber State kicker Trey Tuttle was named the Root Sports Special Teams honoree. Remember, Root Sports is the official television partner of the Big Sky Conference. When we return, Montana head coach Bobby Hauck will join us on the show. Stay tuned to This Week in Big Sky Football.
Big Sky men's and women's basketball championships are headed to Boise. Buy your tickets now for a fun-filled week with basketball for all to enjoy. Purchase your tickets today by visiting BigSkyInBoise.com. That's BigSkyInBoise.com.
At Jimmy John's, we want your sandwich to arrive freaky fast, so it's freaky fresh. So we only deliver within 5 minutes of our stores, and not farther. Click to order at JimmyJohns.com. 5 minutes is not a guaranteed delivery time. Actual delivery times will vary.
We would like to welcome Montana head coach Bobby Hauck to our show today. Welcome, Coach. It's always great to have you on our show, and how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, Carl. Thank you for having me on.
Now, the Big Sky and Bobby Hauck are two things that seem to blend very well together. Since your second arrival last season, you have helped the Grizz to dominate top 25 teams this season. What was your offseason like last year, and how did it help prepare you guys for this season?
Well, we believe in a pretty strenuous offseason, and I think that one of the reasons why we continue to improve is that the guys in our locker room have embraced that work ethic, and you've got to do the blue-collar things and the effort things in the offseason to get better as a football player. So we worked hard this offseason, and we continue to improve.
Now, your fans are known to pack the house. How important is it for fans to come out to games and support the local teams?
Well, I think that's important everywhere. And certainly the people here in Montana have embraced Montana football, and they're here at the Grizz games, rain or shine, every weekend. And it's always fun to be in that stadium for home games. It's my favorite day of the year when we're here. So I get 6 of them every year that I really enjoy.
Now, you've coached at the FCS and the FBS levels. College Game Day has started to implement more FCS coverage after the big social media campaign at the Big Sky started a few weeks ago. Talk about why national coverage on a major platform like that is good for the FCS.
Well, it's good football, first of all, so it's great for people to see that the option to watch us is a great thing, that we have good football teams. We have cool locales to play. And, personal opinions, game day ought to have been at Missoula, Montana a long time ago. They need to come because this is one of the great game days in all of college football.
Every time we turn around, it seems like there's multiple quarterbacks that are just slinging the ball for 5 touchdowns a game, like it's the normal thing to do here in the league. How would you describe the play across the league this year when it comes to the QBs?
Well, it's been pretty exemplary. The thing about that is everybody's got a veteran quarterback right now. I mean, Kevin Thompson's a 6-year junior at Sac State. We've got a veteran guy, and NAU's got a veteran guy. There are guys all over the league that have played a lot of football. Cal Davis has a veteran guy. So, it's the way of the world a little bit with the RPO game and all those things that have opened offenses and yardage up. So it's a commonplace across college football and certainly in the Big Sky with all these veteran quarterbacks. They're putting up big numbers.
Your team is very balanced this season. from your run game to your pass game to your defensive stops. How has your coaching staff been able to get the players to buy into your system?
Well, it's easy to get the players believe in their coaches here, and so the buy-in, that's simple, and certainly being balanced is what we believe in. We want to have an equal play call sheet, run and pass, and we strive for that, and it's been pretty good this year in that regard.
Now, as a coach, we know that you love when your players excel on the field, but sometimes it's off the field moments that make a bigger impact. Talk a little bit about Dante Olson's impact on the team when it comes to his community service and mentorship.
Well, we have great guys on our team, and they do a lot. This is Missoula, Montana is a pretty intimate college town, and as big as Grizzly football is in this state, these guys get a lot of attention, and so all the things that they do to help out in the community, and we don't have enough time right now in this quick interview to talk about all of them, are a big deal here. And certainly with Dante Olson leading the charge, both academically and off the field, he's just done some amazing things. And being on the American Football Coaches Association, the All-State Good Works team is quite an honor for him in our program, and they don't just give those out. He's done a lot of great things for a lot of people.
You have an experienced senior class and some big playmakers. How has their experience and leadership helped shape the newcomers of the program?
Well, we try to empower our seniors to lead the charge, and we always feel like, once they get into their fourth and fifth year college, they're a little more like the coaches than they are the freshmen that are coming in the door, and so we empower them to be the guys that have a voice. And anytime you have a coaching change, it's hard on the players, and they've really kind of taken the bull by the horns and led from within. And again, that's why we're kind of ahead of schedule in terms of bringing our program back to where we want it.
All right, Coach Houck, thank you for joining us on our show today, and good luck in your game at Portland State this Saturday.
All right. You bet. Go Grizz. Thanks for having me on.
We will be back shortly with our next segment of This Week in Big Sky Football.
My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel of the Big Sky Conference. Need a hotel for work or just a night away? With over 50 hotels open and more on the way, we want to be your home away from home. Let My Place be your place. Enroll in our new loyalty program and stay rewarded.
Next up on This Week in Big Sky Football is Southern Utah quarterback Chris Helbig. Chris, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Chris, take us back to your game this last weekend versus Idaho State. Your defense got the game going with an interception on the first play of the game. How does a big play like that get the entire team hyped up?
Yeah, we've had a problem starting fast. And the defense, when we sat in our team meeting, they kind of had the game plan as to what their offense was going to do. And obviously we didn't expect that on the first play, but starting fast is something that we needed to work on. And obviously getting an interception and getting a ball on the 30-yard line going in is something that is going to help any team with that momentum. So I think just that play kind of set the tone for the whole game.
Now, that win was the first in conference play for you and your teammates. How did it feel to get that W at home?
It was good. I mean, we've been close a few games. We just haven't been able to finish. And in this league, it's such a competitive conference that everything is so close. You can't make a few mistakes here or there, and we've been making those mistakes. So it's just kind of nice to go out there, and we made a few mistakes, but we executed more than we have the past few games, and so that really showed. And it was good that it ended in a victory and won in that fashion. I mean, we've been getting better each week, and we've been getting closer to a victory, and it was nice for one to finally just come through.
Now let's go back to the start of the season for a little bit with your overtime win over Stephen F. Austin. It was crazy. What was that win like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. We came off of 2 games against good opponents, an FBS school and then UNI. And so we just wanted to get our first win at home. It was our first game at home. We had a great crowd. It was exciting. It showed that what we're capable of, and I mean, we finally started playing like that again this last week, and it was just something good to build off and something for us to be able to go back to and see what we did well in that game and see what we can carry over each week to try to get another victory.
Now, for Big Sky fans that may not be familiar with your background, tell us how you got started playing football.
Yeah, so I was younger, from Colorado, and I just started playing flag football when I was little. Played 1 year. I was actually the center. Played tackle the next year, and I've been playing quarterback ever since. And then out of high school, I went to University of Colorado, and they didn't see me as a quarterback up there. So instead of choosing to play defense, I just decided to go to the junior college route. And I ended up at Butler Junior College in Kansas, and then Southern Utah offered me, and it was close to home, and it was in a conference that I was familiar with just growing up in Colorado. So it was just an opportunity that I couldn't turn down.
Now, what's one of your favorite things at playing at Southern Utah?
Just the atmosphere. I mean, we've had a lot of away games, and not many compare to the atmosphere here on Saturdays. I mean, win or lose, the fans come out. And it's just a great atmosphere. It's a great college town, and it's a different environment than what I grew up in. So just learning other lifestyles and being around teammates from different parts of the country is just something that I've really taken in and just something that I've enjoyed.
Now, as a quarterback, have you seen much difference in throwing the ball outside versus in a dome? And do you have to make any changes to your throwing style based on the stadium you're playing at?
A little bit. The ball seems to fly a little bit better in the dome. I like it just because there's no wind, and here in Cedar we get quite a bit of wind. We've had a few games where it's been pretty windy here, which obviously affects the ball a little bit. But I mean, we practice in this wind, and we're used to it. And then playing in Kansas before this, I've kind of been able to learn to work with the wind a little bit. So it's not a huge thing for me, but it helps receivers out. And it just kind of helps the flow of the offense when things are calm and you have all your tools that you can bring out.
All right, that's Southern Utah quarterback Chris Helbig. Thank you for joining us on the show, and good luck this weekend at Montana State.
Thank you.
Pluto TV is your one-stop shop for Big Sky action. The leading free internet television service in America will stream live sporting events including up to 700 football, men's and women's basketball, volleyball, and selected soccer, softball, and track and field events. Simply go to Pluto TV to find games from several different sports. Pluto TV is your one-stop shop for all Big Sky action.
It's time for the one and only Craig Haley from Stats to join us on our show. How are you doing this week, Craig?
Doing real well, Carl. Thanks for having me on.
The Big Sky can be described as best-selling thriller novel because you never know what's going to happen and you're always on the edge of your seat. From Montana State's loss to North Dakota to Southern Utah's 59-point performance against Idaho State, what were some of your takeaways from last week's Big Sky games?
It's definitely survive and advance in the Big Sky. I mean, only the two conference unbeatens, Weber and then Sac State won on the road. I mean, it seemed that, some of the passing numbers were down, so maybe it shows you how play calling tightens up in conference play and run the ball a little more and play a game of field position. I mean, these games are just emotionally draining to watch, to participate in. I mean, it's definitely what we want, and it's just, it's been fun.
Case Cookus is inching closer to the Big Sky career passing touchdown mark as he's the NCAA active leader in the category. You got to meet Case in person in 2005 when he won the Stats National Freshman Player of the Year honor. When you look back to his performance this season and his rookie season and throughout his career, is it a shocker that he's been able to launch the ball so perfectly into the end zone?
Yeah, he's been terrific. I mean, he took everybody by storm as a freshman, and I think you could see early on that Case is a true field general, and he looks the part with his size and his big arm. I mean, as a freshman, he kind of had an unbalanced split with his passing yards, passing touchdowns at home compared to the road, where he was much better at home. But now he's dangerous in any stadium, and that includes playing on the road at FBS stadiums. I like when a team looks to its quarterback as the leader, and NAU definitely does that with Case.
Now, right behind Case is UC Davis quarterback Jake Mayer, who is very close to cracking the top 10 in Big Sky career passing yards. What are some of the similarities you have seen in both players?
Both are pure passers more so than, the dual threats that are so prevalent in college football. I think of Jake maybe throwing on the run a little more than Case. I mean, Jake, likes that quick release, which is kind of a product of what Coach Hawkins runs with his offense. I mean, Case, he can step up and run, but he loves to fire downfield from the pocket. I mean, they only squared off the one time, 2 years ago, and Case got the win. I mean, they're two special players. There's going to be a void, in the Big Sky when these players are gone.
The Big Sky kickers are really showing out this season. Cody Williams of Portland State and Trey Tuttle of Weber State both recorded 5 made field goals last week, in addition to Louis Aguilar of Northern Arizona knocking in the game winner from 38 yards out with 4 seconds left. Are the Big Sky kickers finally performing as they have in years past?
A lot of the leaders in the Big Sky have, good percentages. Some of them just haven't had a ton of field goal opportunities, but I'm never surprised when Big Sky kickers are doing well. I mean, I think the air in the Big Sky helps, plus, kickers are better than ever in many places. So I'll tell you one thing with Trey Tuttle is he's one of only 3 active kickers in the FCS with over 50 career field goals. And he has another season left where the other 2 don't. They're seniors. I really think Trey can threaten, Dan Carpenter's FCS record at Montana.
South Dakota State tried their best against North Dakota State, but they were unable to top the Bison on their home turf. Did that game do anything to deter your thought process on North Dakota State's number 1 ranking?
Well, that's hard to do with the Bison. I mean, you can make that case because it was close, but you can almost go the other way. I mean, the Jackrabbits gave NDSU their best shot, and the Bison still won. I mean, the Bison, they try and wear you down. The one thing about them is they don't mind being in close games in the quarter because they truly believe what they're going to do is better than what the opposite position does. I mean, there's really no panic out of that program, even in tight situations. So, to me, I just think, it seems the Bison are going to have another undefeated regular season.
Now, what about South Dakota State? They dropped a little in the polls this week due to that loss. Are they still worthy of a top 5 ranking?
For sure. I mean, they dropped to 4 in our stats poll, and they were number 5 in the coaches poll. I think 4 is better from what they did against NDSU. I mean, they really went deep into that game with the Bison, and they did so while having used 3 different quarterbacks. So South Dakota State's an elite program. It's consistent. Yes, there's no reason to not have in the top 5.
Now, would you disagree that the game to watch, not only in the Big Sky, but across the entire FCS this week, is number 3 Weber State and number 6 Sacramento State?
Oh, what a game! I mean, it's right up there. The way they're playing for first place, and one's a defending champ, the other's a surprise team. I know there are a few other really big games in the FCS, but yes, this one sticks out. I mean, I think Weaver has to keep the ground game going that they have, and that way you keep the ball out of Kevin Thompson's hands. It's a toss-up kind of game. I think you're not going to get too many better matchups this week than Weaver at Sac State.
All right. Well, that's Craig Haley of Stats. Thank you, Craig, for joining us. And as always, have a great day. Big Sky fans, make sure you download the Pluto TV app on your smartphone, tablet, or TV, and check out our new channel lineup in the 500s. Northern Arizona at Eastern Washington, Northern Colorado at Idaho State, Weber State at Sacramento State, Montana at Portland State, and Cal Poly at Idaho can all be watched on Pluto TV this week. The Root Sports Game of the Week features Southern Utah at Montana State. Kickoff is scheduled for 12 p.m. Mountain Time at Bobcat Stadium. Thanks again to Montana head coach Bobby Houck, Southern Utah quarterback Chris Helbig, and Stats Craig Haley. Enjoy this week in Big Sky football.